could never do Whole30 because you have to give up caffeine. Wrong. Hi there, I'm Sierra Loves Dogs. I love doing monthly challenges, and I just finished a Whole30 challenge. In sharing my diet with friends and family, I became aware that there are a lot of misconceptions and myths about what the Whole30 diet actually is. So first of all, what is the Whole30 diet? For 30 days, you commit to eliminating the following food groups from your diet: sugar, alcohol, grains, legumes, dairy, preservatives. I totally forgot. I have to look up the last one. I thought there were 7. There's only 6. Maybe it just felt like 7, but that's probably a good time for a disclaimer segue, which is I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a Whole30 expert. I'm just a person who read a book. And so if this is something you would like to consider for yourself, obviously consult with your doctor if it could be a benefit to you, and you can read the book for yourself. Okay, but let's dive into the myths. Myth number 1, you can't have any carbs or caffeine. Totally not true. If there was a diet where I couldn't have coffee, I would be out. Now, what you can't have is all of the Coffee Mate creamer that I would normally put into it. So I did have to transition to Nut Pods, which is an almond unsweetened milk alternative. And then I did trade my afternoon Diet Coke for unsweetened iced tea that I cold brewed myself. You're definitely able to have caffeine through the Whole30 diet. As for carbs, you can pretty much have any fruit or vegetable. And as we know, fruit has naturally occurring carbs in it, as does potatoes and some of the starchier vegetables. And so you're not by any means eliminating carbs. In fact, in order to get the carbs, I had potatoes, both sweet potatoes and russet potatoes most days. Myth number 2, it's impossible to eat out or travel. Well, I proved this wrong. I actually had a work trip in the middle of my Whole30 challenge to Las Vegas. And it was actually the first time I went to Las Vegas and didn't consume alcohol in my life. So that was different. We did have a few nights out, and I treated myself to sparkling mineral water, which I don't always order. And then at the bar, I would just ask for club soda with lime. And it was fine. I felt like I was having something to drink and nobody questioned what I was drinking. It might have been a Tito's and lime. As for food, I basically looked at the menu items for something with a protein base and then vegetables. So maybe that was a salad for lunch, or maybe that was a dinner with fish or chicken and a roasted vegetable on the side. And then I told the server I had a dairy allergy. So one of the things that you can't have is dairy, which includes butter. So I wanted to make sure that all of the food was prepped either using an olive oil or just non-butter. So I was there for 4 days and stuck to my Whole30 the whole time. Myth number 3, you have to prep everything. Not true. Now, my first time doing Whole30 was a couple of years ago, and I did follow the guidelines and made my own mayonnaise, made my own salad dressing, I made my own ketchup, I made my own marinara sauce, and I did batch a lot of those sauces and condiments, and it was a lot of work. About halfway through the Whole30 challenge last time, I did come across a couple of brands. They're a little more obscure brands, places I don't normally shop for groceries, so I think I was able to find something at Whole Foods, and then also Target, surprisingly, their Primal line. A lot of those condiments are Whole30 approved. So at Target, I was able to find ketchup that's Whole30 approved, salad dressing, and pasta sauce. Side note, I'm not eating pasta because grains aren't approved. I would roast a spaghetti squash and mix it with chicken meatballs and the pasta sauce, and it would be a very satisfying meal. Myth number 4 is it ends after 30 days. It's called Whole30 and you do it for 30 days, right? So Whole30 is a diet, which is a way of eating, but it's not for weight loss, and we'll talk about that in a second. What Whole30 does is eliminates foods that cause bloating, inflammation, allergies, things that our bodies react to, or addiction in my case, which is the reason I wanted to do it, because I find that often in the month of December, I overindulge on sugar. And so I wanted to do a cold turkey on sugar and alcohol as well, which is obviously a kind of sugar, and really just reset my body's cravings. But because it eliminates so many different groups of food, if you introduce them all back at once, you're not able to identify which food your body may or may not have a reaction to. And so there is actually a reintroduction process, if you follow the book correctly, whereby you gradually introduce food groups over a period of 10 days to, maybe 2 weeks. And that brings me to myth number 5, which is you're gonna lose weight. It's a diet. Now, my personal experience is I did lose 10 pounds both times I did it a couple of years ago and this last time. Nick did it along with me as well, and he lost maybe double what I lost. He's obviously a bigger person with a bigger frame. But while Whole30 does restrict you from certain food groups, you're not calorie counting, you're not weighing things, and you're not restricting your portion size. What I do find is, one, I get a little bored of food, and so I don't want to eat as much because it's just more salad. And then because you're having protein at every meal, you are just fuller faster. But really, this is an elimination diet, not a weight loss diet. The myth is that people do Whole30 with the intention to lose weight. And while it is often I hear a benefit of the Whole30 challenge, it is not the main intent. If you're enjoying this video, I am doing monthly challenges all year. I just finished a meditation challenge, which I'll link here, and I'm in the middle of a hula hoop challenge. So I did those overlapping with the Whole30 challenge. And I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing or hitting that like button. It really helps my YouTube channel out a whole lot if you do one or both of those activities, so thank you. I'll throw in one more bonus myth, and that is, with all that clean eating, you must just feel great. No. I will say that in the first couple of days, all of my bloating went away, so that was a good benefit. But after that, I was just hangry a lot of the time. Noticed in my workouts, I think just because of the way that I was getting my calories, even though I was eating lots of carbs, I didn't feel strong. I felt like I didn't have a lot of energy, and so my workouts weren't as great during the month. Obviously, I was in a caloric deficit to have lost 10 pounds during the month, although I wasn't checking my weight necessarily. You're not supposed to during the effort, but if you're in a calorie deficit, maybe you just don't have the calories to produce the effort that you normally would from an athletic standpoint. It was around day 26. I was in the gym and lifting and finally had the I feel good, I feel strong moment where I was moving the pins down to some weights that I hadn't achieved previously. That was exciting and felt really good, but it was much later in the process, like I said, around day 26. So hopefully that helped clarify some of the myths that I heard about what Whole30 was and was not. If you are considering the Whole30 challenge, again, I recommend you pick up this book. I will link it down below. Not only does it describe what the rules are for Whole30, but it's got beautiful illustrations of different recipes that, these are the sauces that, like I mentioned, I made the first time, and then the second time I figured out where to get them. But like these salmon cakes, I'll make them outside of the Whole30. They're delicious. I'm curious if any of you have tried Whole30 or if you're thinking about trying it, what is inspiring you to try it, or what was your experience if you did go through it. I'm so glad you stopped by. Thank you so much for watching, and go pet a dog.